Almost there. And we're good to go. Welcome again, everyone, for the last keynote speaker of today. It's actually my friend Marek Demchak from Slovakia. I met him back in 2016 through a couple of beers, and I must say that he's a great guy and you will learn a lot from him, I'm sure. We were talking backstage, and I promised him I wouldn't share any embarrassing stories of him. So I'll keep my promises. I don't want to lose a friend, but really, he's a great guy, and I look forward to hearing him talking about self management through self reflection. It couldn't come any better after Diana's presentation on self reflection. So I think we are continuing to connect the dots on this one, which is actually a very interesting topic. And Marek, as a lean coach, is going to share his view on, again, self management through self reflection. So, Marek, the stage is yours, and good luck, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. Fine. So I said that I will deny everything that Tiago will tell about me, all the different stories, but I heard only very nice things, so I'm not going to deny anything. Yeah. So good evening. Actually, yeah, in Slovakia, it's evening already. So good evening from Slovakia, and yeah, I'm quite nervous because I'm the last one today with my keynote, and I'm the ugliest one because only beautiful women were before my presentation. And I guess you expect this presentation to be short and funny, but actually it's the opposite. It will be very tough because I have so deep insights for you, which I'd like to share with you. I hope you will appreciate that and give me a lot of questions. So I'm ready to answer all the questions as well. So feel free to write in the chat once and notice the question I'll try to answer. So yeah, self-management through self-reflection. I'm going to build on the presentation from Diana, which I liked very much, the presentation on the topic. And I will focus really on the self-reflection, and I'll give you two things to think about and to do a self-reflection whilst I will have my presentation. And those are related to effectiveness and efficiency as a two separate things, but very important things for our productivity. So yeah, let's start self-management or self-reflection. Have you ever wondered why some people are successful? Like why some people are more successful than you already are? I asked this question myself 6 years ago. Yeah, 2015, something like that. And I still don't have the answer. So this is not a success story. Now I'm going to tell you how I earned my first billion of euros. That's not that kind of story. This is the story of survival. This is this is about how I can survive in my daily job and how what I can observe and how I met a lot of successful people. I meet a lot of productive people, and they have something in common, and they have something in common with us that we're trying to be successful. And guess what? That something is uh, it's time. So they don't have more hours a day. They still have 24 hours a day. They have 7 days a week. And those successful people, they also have 365 days over the year. So they must do something differently. So they are more productive and they're more successful. I'm telling two things, yeah, successful and productive. And they don't need to mean the same thing because we can describe success for us in our own way. But once we know what we want to achieve, the way how to achieve it is productivity, actually, to get as much output as we can from the actions we do with as least input we can put into our actions and what we do daily. So yeah, but coming back to time, so those successful people or productive people, they use the same amount of time we have. So what do we do differently? And to answer that question, I would use the quote by Henry Ford, who said that most people get ahead during the time others waste. So maybe, just maybe, the answer is in the word waste. So maybe we are wasting too much time, but not doing what we should be doing. And that brings me to the first topic for self-reflection, and this is effectiveness. Effectiveness actually means doing the right things. So now time for you to reflect a little bit. Are you doing the right things? I mean, not at the moment. At the moment, definitely you're doing the right thing, only if you're still playing the game from the previous keynote, but I guess not. So you're listening to this keynote. So are you doing the right things to achieve what you want? And it's not just a question that should go on the surface of the thing, but you need to be really honest in that. So you cannot answer this question if you're not honest. That's the first thing. That being honest. Am I doing what I should be doing in order to achieve what I want to achieve? To answer this question, uh, we need to acknowledge reality. We need to look at our days, what we actually do daily, because the ways we spend our days is how we spend our lives at the end. And really, even in doing the self-reflection, and I encountered that several times for my self-reflections, we're telling to ourselves lies. We're not telling the truth unless we acknowledge the reality. So what actually am I doing during the day? What am I doing during the work? Is it something I should be doing? Is it something they're paying me for? Or is it something so I just waste my time, I spend my time on social media, on anything else, which actually helps me to fulfill the time I already have. So, but I'm telling to myself, I've been so productive today. I did so much stuff. Actually, I created so much output. But is this really true? Is this really what we are doing? And for that, we need to be honest. And that's the first thing for self-reflection, effectiveness. And I have one help with me here, and that's another quote for a Japanese philosopher who actually never existed. So I guess that's imaginary character, but the message this character is sending us is quite powerful. Just stop for a while and read the quote. The greatest crime is the overlooking of who you really are in favor of the story of who you think you are. This preoccupation with your personal drama is the cloud that masks the sun. Is the cloud that masks the sun. So when we start and we reflect, whilst being honest to ourselves, what actually we are spending our times on, it may be the answer to the question what we should be doing. So if I'm spending 8 hours a job pretending I'm doing something, but I'm doing something else, maybe the problem is somewhere else. So maybe I should spend time and try to earn money on what I'm actually doing. That's how I spend my days, and that's the way how we spend our lives. And just to find the proof of that your honesty is to check one thing. And I give you now I give you the the tip for a great tool you can use and you may have never heard about before. That's a calendar. So we're looking for so many great tools how to be more productive, but we need just one, and that's the calendar. And that's what we should use also for our self-reflection. It is, okay, so what I'm actually doing. So check your calendar. But I don't mean literally, like you have to find everything in your calendar, but check your daily schedule, check your weekly schedule, and try to assume how much time you spend on what. In mobile phones, you already have that analysis that will tell you, okay, how much time you spend watching something, like being on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, whatever. So if those numbers are quite high and you are not a social marketer, like you're not earning money for that, or it's not your hobby, then maybe it's not the right thing that will lead you to what you actually want to do. So not looking for sophisticated things, looking for something simple and being honest to yourself. So, but not, I don't want to speak just on a conceptual level, like, okay, this is what you should do and blah, 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 and let everything on you. I like to give you some examples, what you can directly apply if you want to be successful in different areas, and what you actually should find in your calendar. So I took this picture from Twitter. You can find that there as well. But I quite align with all those activities which are written here. So because success is different for everyone in here. So you might be you can consider to be successful is if you're healthy, if you're rich or wealthy, if you have a lot of wisdom, no matter what. But there are some ways how to achieve that. So, for example, in my perception, being healthy, I need to do several things like doing weightlifting, fasting, so not eating a certain period of day, doing sprints or high intensity interval trainings, stretching or meditating. So that's what I consider to be healthy. And then I should find in my calendar. And if I want to be healthy, I need to find it there. And that's the honesty in it. So if you want to be healthy, do you have those things in your calendar? So maybe you don't go for heavy lifting, you go for running or you go for gymnastic or anything else. So it's up to you. It's just something you need to find in your calendar. You need to be honest, I'm doing that regularly. For being wealthy or rich, there are some things like building, selling, creating, investing, or owning something. So do you spend time on that as well? So that's about being effective, doing the right things. No matter where you're aiming for, you should be doing right things. That's the first part of the story. That's the first part of self-reflection, acknowledging reality and being honest to oneself. The second part is efficiency. And efficiency is about doing the things right. So once you know what you actually should be doing, now is the time to do it properly, to do it right. So first I differentiate, okay, maybe I shouldn't spend so much time on social media. Maybe I shouldn't do a binge watching on Netflix for over 2 weeks. Maybe I shouldn't do that. So instead of that, I'm going to write a blog. I'm going to lead a project. I'm going to really plan the project. I'm really going to do the risk analysis. I'm really going to do the stakeholder analysis. So that's what I should do. But how do those things more efficiently? So how not to actually waste time on that? Because we can waste a lot of time on that as well. So we don't solve the problem just being effective. We need to be efficient as well. And to give you a tip, which actually works for me a lot, so it's not something I read, it's something I do. But this tip is a little bit controversial, and probably you will not like it, and maybe you will not agree with me on that. And that one thing which actually helps me not to waste time is not to do on multitasking. Multitasking is a lie, and you may try hard, you will not persuade me the opposite. I know, yeah, ladies can do that. Okay, let's discuss that. But overall, multitasking is a lie, and it takes a lot of time away from us. And we can see multitasking on the two different levels. One is a micro level. So I do now do something, but at the same time, I'm checking my phone, I'm answering something, I'm listening music, whatever. So I'm doing several things at the same time. At least it seems to be I'm doing several things at the same time. And the second level is a micro level. So I'm working on several projects at the same time. So I have in one window open the Excel sheet with my analysis, and the second window I have opened the PowerPoint with completely different project, and I'm skipping between two projects. So the first thing, what I think multitasking is a lie, is that a human's brain actually cannot do two things at the same time. Even the naming is wrong. It's not multitasking, it's a task skipping. So actually I skip from one task to another and to another and to another, and then I go quickly back to the previous one or to the first one. So we are always skipping from one thing to another. And the problem with skipping uh, on the micro level and also on micro level is that we waste a lot of time actually. And this waste of time happens, for example, you're reading a book. That's a good example. You're reading a book, you're lying in your bed in your pajama covered with a thick blanket, and you have a fantastic book in your head, in your hands. So let's say it's Harry Potter or 50 Shades of Grey, based on your preferences. So you're reading a book, at a certain moment you are falling asleep, no matter how good the book is. So you put a bookmark into your book and you put it on the table. So you went to sleep, and then in the morning you wake up, you go to do your job, any routines you already have. So again, it's the evening, so you take your book, you open, there is a bookmark, you start reading. But hold on, what is this story about? I'm reading something, but actually, what was that about? So you turn 2 or 3 pages back to find out what was the story about. At least maybe sometimes you go to the beginning of the chapter, was the title and what I'm reading, and then you go back to the bookmark and you continue reading. So you spend a hell of time wasting just by reviewing where you actually finished last time, and then you start reading. And if you count such a situation over a day and week and month and year, you waste hell of time just by trying to figure out where I finish my project so I can start to continue. When I finish my book, so I can start to continue. When I finish my presentation, so I can start to continue to work with that. And that's what is meant by on the macro level, wasting your time doing two things at the same time. So skipping from one thing to another. We always spend some time getting a lot to be aligned with actually where we finished. If you like the story and you want to know some more tools how to do that, so I direct you to my blog on IPMA website. It is called Just-in-Time Project Management, and there are some few tips on how to actually uh, mm, not waste your time by starting the activity over and over again. So just a small tip, do things right first time. That's maybe the answer. How, for example, if you read a book, so try to finish the book at the chapter. So when you finish the chapter, close the book, and then you start reading, you can directly start with a new story, but you can read about it more on IPMA blog. Another thing is micro level. And on micro level, let me explain this a little more in detail. So imagine you're in a meeting, and of course, you have to open the laptop, and you're doing notes. Of course, you're doing notes, so therefore your laptop has to be open even in a meeting with other people. But suddenly, at a certain moment, there is a pop-up, a new email will come, and because you are disciplined, you try to ignore the email, so you're not going to read it. No, you are in the meeting. Of course, you're in the meeting. But then a little devil on your shoulders, okay, read that email, read that email. So that, okay, maybe I'll have a quick look. I answer it very quickly, and then I'm back in the meeting. So you do. You have a quick look. It's an easy thing. You say, okay, I can solve it right away. You write it rapidly. You press the button, and you send the email. So you're back in the meeting. After a moment, when everything settled down, you realize, damn, I made a mistake. I made a tremendous mistake in that email. Maybe I mistaken the date or time or person it was sent to, whatever. So your meeting is completely ruined because there is always the little devil on your shoulder telling you, see, why did you do that? Why did you read that email? You sent now it's wrongly, so you need to make the correction after the meeting. So once it ruined your meeting, another thing, some people can already make some decision based on your email. So because you are multitasking, because you think you are multitasking, but for some activities we need to have more time. We need to spend more time to do things right first time. So we need to dedicate some time to ourselves. And this happened not only during the meetings, but what very often this happens also for us to create our opinions. You are in a meeting or you are discussing with someone, and then you see a message on Instagram or wherever, you read the title. So as you assume directly that might be true, and you directly use it in conversation. And then you build a whole conversation and maybe take some decisions on that. So there was nice chatting. So we conclude something. But then in the evening, you have a time, you check the title and you see that the story is completely different. So you spend a lot of energy, a lot of time discussing about something which is not really true. And we don't give ourselves a time to think. We just consume what's popping up and then putting it together and then trying to have an opinion. But those are not our opinion. They're collective opinions. And I can tell you, everyone has an opinion because it's easy to have. But mostly people are wrong with their opinions. But to distinguish if someone is wrong or not, you need to spend some time on it. You need to think. You need to allow yourself to think, to check different references, to create your own opinion. And people don't know that many times. I have a lot of coaching sessions, and that's also part of the coaching sessions to reflect actually. So how did you come up with that idea? What's behind? And the thing that people don't know how to think, it's like being in an ass kicking contest just only with one leg. So you are missing something. That's why I don't like multitasking so much. Uh, it's not so bad as it might look like, that this multitasking stuff, and it doesn't mean that you have to always like be 100% focused and never check a social media whilst you are speaking with someone, even though I consider to be rude. But that's my problem. It all depends actually what we are doing. And I'll come back again to calendars and how we can use the calendars. And no matter what you do, I guess you can fit into two categories of people. One category are creators. So you create something. The calendar of creator may look like this. So you have a several big blocks for thinking, for doing something, so getting to flow. If you remember the picture I showed previous slides ago with this struggle to get into the flow. So in order to have as less struggles as we should have some more time to do things. I like the schedule of Huraki Murakami. That's a Japanese novelist. I guess you know him, and he's famous for his daily routine. That he woke up at 4 in the morning. He starts writing for 5-6 hours. So and after that, he goes to gym, goes for walking, swimming, any physical activity. In the evening, he has a nice meal and watch TV or some podcasts on radio, anything. So he dedicates a time and he fixes that precisely day by day, actually. So it's not like to copy his calendar, it's just to show up that for deep thinking, for creating an opinion, we have to dedicate ourselves a time. And I'll come back to effectiveness. We need to have the time in our calendar. We cannot create opinion just by popping up all the information going from Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Someone said so, I heard that on the street, and so on, so on. This is not how we create opinion. The second calendar or second cluster you're quite familiar with, it's a manager. So you see his calendar may look like this. Staff over the staff, many per hour meetings, short meetings, tiny slots, because his job, I'm not saying he doesn't need to think, but usually managers are people that already have certain expertise. So their role is to take decisions, to take quick decisions, to instruct people, to have capabilities to do the things so they can direct and manage people. They are firefighters. So sometimes in a short meeting, in 3 minutes, a manager can solve a difficult problem, but he can also create a tremendous mistake in very 3 minutes. So yeah, it's not white and black. I guess you find yourself somewhere in between. You at your daily job, you might be a project manager. You need to manage things. You need to take decisions, but also you need to create something. To create a good risk analysis, stakeholder analysis. It's not something we should do whilst doing something else. So now I'm at the meeting because it's a status report to our new web page, for example, so I can do my risk analysis. I guarantee you make a mistake just because simply multitasking doesn't work. It's a task skipping, and you might miss the point what you actually are doing. So uh, very often when we try to be more productive, we don't go for a calendar. We go for uh, any other fantastic, brilliant, super trooper tools. Like to have, I need to have a tool for that. I really need to have a tool. Like if I don't have a tool, I will not solve anything. But that's not the truth. I like the quote from another clever guy, which is Derek Thompson, and he said, "Better technology means higher expectations, and higher expectations create more work." And I think there is a lot of wisdom behind that quote. Like you buy a new watch, it's a smartwatch. Sometimes the smartwatches they know more about us than we know. The problem is that we don't care and they don't care to tell us. But we spend a lot of time setting up the watch, changing the background, and do all the stuff. So it's really wasting of time if I'm not a professional athlete or I don't really use those data to improve myself. It's just generally I'm wearing on my wrist. It might be wasting of time to spending too much time doing that. But that's just the watch. I have another example, which is maybe more old-fashioned, but uh, we have a washing machine. So one would consider, okay, if I have a washing machine, then I save a lot of time. But because I have a washing machine, I like to have my clothes always clean. So maybe I use the washing machine more often than people were used to use washing machines in the old days, where they have a servant to do that. Actually, so more high tech we have, more expectations we have, and more time we waste by by adjusting the high tech tool. Actually, that might help us. On the other hand, maybe we just need a simple tool like a calendar, or maybe we just need a few minutes of a deep talk to really understand what's going on. Few minutes spending on acknowledging reality. So what actually am I doing? Is what I'm doing helping me get to where I want to go? I'm not against binge watching on Netflix. I can name you several TV shows which are great, but there is a dedicated time for that. If we want to have an opinion, if we want to know if we're progressing, we need to have some time to think, to have our own opinion. And for that, actually, tools will not help us. Actually, they will, but they need to fit into the system. We need to have the environment, and then we choose the tool. To give you an example, and this is going to be one of the last slides of today, um, I like to look for systems, and I and try to apply several systems into a way how I do my job. How can I be more efficient in what I decided to do? One of the system is Para, and it's nothing else. It's just the way how you can store documents in your computer. And you might be laughing, okay, what this can do with my efficiency. But once you try to use that approach, you will notice that from time to time you have more time, because when someone asks you to do something, you have the information right away. Actually, what makes me angry is if someone asks me, so can you send me that email again because I cannot find it? Or can you please send me the RAS version of our status report? I cannot find it. Actually, in the last 6 years, it didn't happen to me. And it's not like because I'm so good, because I use the right system that helps me that. And I assume we are all knowledge workers. So we work with the knowledge. We create, we share, we develop a knowledge, and we build something based on our knowledge. And the para system is the way how to store our knowledge in the most efficient way. So I can very quickly jump from one project to another because I do things right for times in the small batches, and I know where I store things. So that's the one thing. And for that, I don't need a special tool. I need my computer and a system, and I need a cloud, best case. Another system is Inbox Zero, how you can use what you can do with your emails, how you can work with your emails more efficiently. So Google that. It's quite good. To sum up this self-reflection on self-management, just 2 points actually. One, no matter what you want to achieve, choose wisely what you do. So be honest to yourself, acknowledge reality, check what you are actually doing. Dedicate time to find out what you are actually doing. And the second thing is, whilst you find out what you need to do, don't waste your time by not doing that efficiently. The last story of today is I know several coaches which they want to be better coaches, but what they do, they spend a hell of time on preparing website, posting on social media. But this will not make them better coaches. Only coaching will do. So they should fill their calendars with coaching sessions. It doesn't mean that posting on social media is not important. It is. But let's find a system how to do it the most effective so I don't have to take care of it. It's not my business. I can find an easy system how to do it so I still can dedicate a lot of time to coaching sessions, for example. So yeah, that's actually it from my side for uh, self-reflection on self-management. If you like my talk and you want to get in touch and continue speaking about systems, for example, what kind of systems will fit you the best, or you have any other questions, feel free to contact me via LinkedIn or any other social media you'll find me. So I'm very happy to keep on going and answer your questions, even now if you have some.
Marek, what a great way to finish my day with such an inspiring speech and also coming from a friend. Really nice. I have a few words for you. First of all, please don't take yourself as the ugliest man in the room because you're not. You need to do more of a self reflection and trust how beautiful you are. So that's the first one.
Thank you.
And
I just
then
compare the hair, it and it didn't fit.
there's nothing to do with the hair. Also, I have to tell you this. I missed your sense of humor. You're still that guy that always has good joke for people, and this presentation is a whole of new jokes and stuff to make it funny yet insightful. So thank you for that as well. I have one thing that I am really terrible at, and I may come back to you on this offline, okay? But I really saw myself because I waste a lot of time reading emails more than once, right? And I saw you posted something on LinkedIn a while ago and it made me think, but then I just continue doing the same. So I need your help to figure out how to be better at that. I also enjoy the manager calendar. I see that a lot and I work in consulting, and that is pretty common. So yeah, we really need to think about effectiveness and efficiency all at the same time, and really need to block time to think. Otherwise, we are just operating and we are never thinking or creating. So thank you as well for that one.
Yeah, remember, ass kicking contest. So else you have a calendar like that. So you need to think deeply. Otherwise, you lose something.
That's right. Before I jump into two questions that we have, just to finish, I have one thing that I really think multitasking works, and it is when I'm washing the dishes, I'm hearing a podcast. Would you agree that that multitasking is okay or not?
No.
Ah, come on. Oh no.
No, no.
Really?
Yes, because if it's a good podcast, you need to consume, you need to digest the information, maybe to take a note, for example, or to do something. Because if you're washing the dishes and there is a good podcast, there is a good something on the podcast, and then say, okay, I'll come back to that podcast again. So you are violating the principle, do things right first time, and and there is high probability you will not get again to that podcast because there are thousands of good podcasts. So that might be the thing, actually, what you might lack.
Okay, you're making me think. Thank you for that.
But if washing dishes is your priority, then of course, just to have a background sound that might work.
Yeah, maybe some music, who knows. Okay, let's jump really quick into the questions that we have. We have two of them. We won't be able to take more, but at least let's take these two. One from David. So let me put it on stage so you all can see. Sometimes perspective from other tasks might trigger new, more precise iteration or thoughts about previously considered topic. If it was urgent, a recent one, then it might help well. Sometimes it's tailored inspiration. When to switch and how to stash. Big one, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, that's a creative process. You do something and then something pop-ups and you go and you go and you go. What helps me is actually, I call it to work in batches. So always to try to close something before I start to do something else. So
Yeah.
easy thing is, for example, when you are working on something and then an idea pop up, so I just write it down on the piece of paper. There is always something, the small post-it or something. So I write it down. I don't forget the idea. So I keep going what I was already doing before. And then after I finish, I go, okay, that idea was quite good, so I can build on it something. So that's a very good question, and it's very important not to do direct switch because it will lead us to the wonderland somewhere.
And we all love the Wonderland, don't we? So easy to fall into that. Okay, Second one and final one. And how about the discipline on your subject? What do you think about the use of the discipline, including to dedicate time to the things, to work or to rest?
Discipline is key. That's a very, very good point. So once I know what I should be doing, and once I know how to do it the most efficiently, then discipline comes definitely. So keep on doing, because that's again leads us to systems. So something I do regularly, some processes. So we need to have it in my calendar, and then directly see if I have a discipline. If I want to go to gym, or I want to, I don't know, build a strength or lose weight, if I don't have trainings in my calendar, there is no discipline, because it happens occasionally. So there is no goal. Then actually I'm not doing what I should be doing. So that's a very good point, actually, the discipline. That's why many attempts fail, because we don't have discipline. That's a good one.
Yeah. Sometimes we know what we need to do and what we should be doing, but then we don't have the discipline to pursue it. And then we keep going back to Netflix and Instagram and stuff, right?
Which are not bad stuff. I'm not
Yeah.
against it, but but we need to know for what is the price for it.
Yeah. Exactly. Trade off. Yeah. Very good. We are out of questions, but we are also out of time. So I would love to continue the conversation with you, my friend, but we need to close the day. It's been a long day. A lot of insightful keynotes, great speakers, 8 people with different topics, a lot of insights to digest and then to go back into our work and lives and to implement a few of them at least. And Marek, I will just take the next 4 or 5 minutes to close the session. So if you want to say something to the participants before you leave, feel free to do so.
Just thank you so much for the opportunity, and the last words: don't waste your time. Thank you.
Great advice. Thank you again for being here. It was very nice to spend the last keynote of the day with you
My pleasure.
and talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Bye bye. So, guys, let's do it this really, really quick. We are on time for your break. Well, we have 2 minutes, and then we'll have a networking session for 1 hour. So, if you want to take a bigger break because we are a little bit behind schedule, you can do so, and then you can also go back to the networking session and meet with people that will be already there. So feel free to use that 1 hour of the networking session as it best suits you. I'm sure some of you will now go back to sleep, some of you will have a whole lot of day ahead, but I hope you feel as much energized as I'm feeling right now, because we really had a wonderful day, great speakers. And I'm not saying this because I love the global PM days team or the event or whatsoever. I'm really telling this because I felt so, well, excited to listen to all of this, coming from Katerina to Diana on self-reflection, and then also the thriller that Sohaila was telling us, and now finishing this with the great advice from Marek to don't waste our time, because yeah, time, we cannot stretch it and we will need to make the most out of it. So let's make the most out of your time and do this very, very quickly. So, first of all, I would like to ask you, take your time, but please share your feedback on the event, the sessions, the networking sessions, most specifically, because we as a team from Global PM Days, we want to learn from your experience and want to make it better for next time. And we are going to have a sixth edition and then a seventh and so on and more and more and more. So we want to make it even better for next time. So please share your feedback with us. It is very, very much important. Thank you for doing so. Then, as I mentioned, we have one more networking session to come. Make the most out of it. We will have two moderated tables there. We have a video by Seth Godin. He's an American author and former dot-com business executive. He's very well known in the field of marketing, but he's also known in the field of management. So you will have a lot of insights as well there. So this is one table, Seth Godin. And then for the second table, you have reflection on the day. So you can go there and share feedback and discuss with other fellow participants what you enjoyed the most, what did you learn, and also understand what others learned. So maybe you missed a few things and you will go back home with much more insights than you can remember. Also, there's speed networking. Did you know that we have this opportunity for one on one interactions? And I really encourage you because with just a few minutes, you can get to know someone that can really change your life. And imagine you are here participating, taking your Saturday, and really everyone is here for the same thing. They want to learn, so they have the same values as you have. So it's always nice and it's always important to connect with someone, and this one-on-one interactions can really speed up that connection. So the speed networking does not mean that you need to be very, very fast speaking to that person. If the conversation is good, you can stay. It's just the concept of speed networking that you can go from one person to another and you can meet a whole lot of people in a very short amount of time. So we encourage you to take the opportunity as well to connect one on one through this speed networking. And before we leave, let me just take the time to thank our sponsor, Balsamic. And Balsamic is actually doing their job to make work fun. Don't we all want that? To go to work and to have fun while we are working and while we are producing new things and doing our daily jobs that sometimes are not so fun. So let's take the time to thank Balsamic and thank everyone on Balsamic for the work they're doing and for the support specifically that they are providing to Global PM Days. Tomorrow we continue. For the first part, you'll have Diana Terashenko from beautiful Russia. And for the second part, you're going to have me again. So I'm sorry about that, but I hope you will be there for the keynote speakers. So you'll have 4 speakers in the morning, just like today, and then a networking session. And then we go back to the keynote speakers, and we have 3 for the second part. So 7 keynote speakers in total, with a networking session in the middle. And then we will have a panel discussion. Okay. We will have a panel discussion right after another networking session. So it goes like this: 4 keynote speakers, 1 networking session, 3 keynote speakers, 1 networking session, and then after that, at 6:50 p.m. CET, we are going to have a panel discussion of 1 hour with speakers that were speaking through today and tomorrow. And we'll also have Joel Carboni from the USA, which is, I would say, very, very expert guy in the field of project management, green project management, sustainability, and a whole lot of stuff. So I don't think you would want to miss that. And also, panel discussions are quite fun because you get to hear in 1 hour different perspectives on one single topic, and then you can pick the best insights for yourself. So after the panel discussion, we'll have a quick closing, and then we end the day at 8 p.m. CET. So be ready for a long day. Well, it's not so long, just 8 hours. You can come in and out of your speaking keynote speakers. You can join the networking session as you please, make the most out of it. And then we see each other in the end at 8 p.m. to say goodbye. So right now, making the most out of your time, letting you go. But first, let me thank you for being here, for participating in this event. I don't know if you just joined or were here for from the very beginning, but I really appreciate it, and the team behind this really appreciates everything that you guys did, which is a very big effort to take your Saturday and also Sunday to be here with us and making all of this possible. Because without you, what would be the point to be here speaking to a screen and just seeing myself and everything? So, really appreciate the interactions, the engagement, the comments in the chat. So, keep doing that tomorrow, throwing in questions for speakers, and just be better in project management anytime you can. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. So for me, that's all. Thank you guys very much, and I will be seeing you tomorrow, hopefully. Take your time to rest. Remember Katerina's advice, and come back tomorrow with a whole lot of energy. Looking forward to see you tomorrow again. Thank you so much for this, and bye bye.